What is going on, everyone? It is Super here, and welcome to another Injustice 2 video, another Q&A video. And as always, if you have your own questions, make sure you guys leave it in the comment section. I'll try to get to it in a future Q&A, or maybe I already got to it in a previous Q&A, so check those out. But let's get started here with the first question. It comes from Alan, and he asks, so there is still some hope that Injustice 2 will be on PC. Could it be in 2017? And Alan, I have good news for you. The answer is yes. I think that Injustice will 100% get a PC port, especially considering, NetherRealm actually took the time and the money and spent the money on updating Mortal Kombat XL, giving the Combat Pack 2 to the PC guys. They didn't have to do that anymore because they had already announced the cancellation. They fired the company that was doing the port, but they hired another company. They spent a ton of money and they've been working on it for a long time, trying to get the love of the PC guys back. So yes, I definitely think for sure if Mortal Kombat XL, a year and a half into its life cycle, got an update for the PC that took a really long time and a lot of money, yes, Injustice 2 will for sure be on the PC, probably on release date as well. I'm sure they want to sell everything, PC, PS4, and Xbox One all on the same day. So yes, I think the PC guys will definitely get Injustice 2. Next question comes from J.R. Taylor, and he asks, Super, do you think Hank Shark could be in Injustice 2? And I think he would be really interesting. I don't know him too much. I remember watching the Batman Assault on Arkham movie, and I thought he was really sick. I thought he was kind of like the Juggernaut from X-Men. He just really strong. And out of all like the monster type characters, there aren't too many that come to mind right now that can make it over him. Doomsday is one of the characters that I think might be coming back just because he's so popular. But other than him, like Gorilla Grodd's already in the game, so he would definitely make sense to be in Injustice 2. I definitely think he has, a strong chance of making it. So moving on here, Boogeyman asks, how many guest characters do you think will be in Injustice 2, and what are your picks for guest characters? Well, if Mortal Kombat indicates how many guest characters potentially could make it into another NetherRealm game, I think it's a safe bet that we're at least gonna have 2. I know there's multiple in Mortal Kombat X, but it's a lot easier to bring guest characters there because you have the fatalities, so you have the horror movie genre to bring into the game. So it's gonna be a little bit tricky for Injustice 2 to bring in guest characters. Right off the bat, I will say there will be at least one Mortal Kombat character in Injustice 2, and I'm calling it to be Sub-Zero. Not only me, I'm not special here. Pretty much everyone that's is actually looking at this with open eyes can see that Sub-Zero will most likely make it into Injustice 2. Like Sub-Zero and Scorpion are the most well-known characters in Mortal Kombat history, so Scorpion made it in the last Injustice, and Sub-Zero will make it this time. So that's one guest character right there. And I would love for Spawn to be in it. Like, you're asking me who I would pick. It would definitely be Sub-Zero and Spawn. As far as other guest characters, I have no clue. But I definitely think there will be at least 2 guest characters that are going to make it into Injustice 2. Where they're going to pull them from, I have no clue. Other than, obviously, Mortal Kombat. Maybe even multiple Mortal Kombat characters. Who knows? But moving on here, Titus asks, do you think that Injustice comic book will help depict which characters are in Injustice 2? And yes, Titus, I definitely think characters that have a strong presence in the Injustice 2 comic when it gets released, I think, if those characters aren't confirmed, then we will probably get a look into, what we could expect from the story mode, and which characters might make it into the game that haven't been confirmed yet. Because if you guys don't know, the first Injustice comic was pretty much the Injustice story, like straight up. It was pretty much a copy and paste. Obviously they did the theme of the game and they moved it over to the Injustice comics, but the Injustice comics came out first before the game came out. So we will know. I will definitely buy the comic book. I will read it, and I will get a lot of spoilers because I actually like spoilers. And I will see, you know, what the story mode in Injustice is going to be like. Obviously, for a video game, they have to tone it down a little bit because the Injustice comic book was a lot more violent and graphic to the Superman, the asshole Superman story, and they toned it down a lot for, you know, the video game. But, you know, I think moving forward with Injustice 2, they're probably going to do the same thing. But to answer your question, yes, I definitely think that when the comic book comes out, Injustice 2 comic book, we will know what characters have like a big role in the story mode, and then we'll know, you know, for sure what characters are going to be in the game. Obviously, there's always characters appearing in story modes that don't end up making it into the game, so it's going to be a little tricky, but, you know, I just can't wait. I just want to know and read what's going to happen in Injustice 2 story. It's going to be fucking awesome, so I can't wait for that. Moving on here, Dragon asks, who do you want the most in Injustice 2? And I've said this many times, but I'll repeat it again. The number one character I want in Injustice 2 is Dr. Manhattan. If he doesn't make it, then, you know, it's cool. I know he's incredibly strong, and whoever else they put in the game, I'm completely fine with. I would definitely like to see Batgirl in the game again, just because her playstyle is really, really fun. But my number one character, my number one wish would be Dr. Manhattan. Moving on here, John asks, do you think the gear system in Injustice 2 will include different outros? The way Superman is when you use evil Superman costume like the Regime and Cyborg, where he tells the opponent to kneel. That is actually a very, very good question, John. And I think if there are costumes by themselves, that might happen, but I don't know if the gear is going to go that in depth. But it would be awesome if it did. It would be awesome if, for example, you know, Supergirl turns into Power Girl from the gear system, and then in the outro, you know, she acts like Power Girl, something like that. You know, it would be really, really cool if they go that much in depth with the gear system and the costumes and stuff. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would like to see it happen. Really good question, by the way. Next one comes from J-Love, and he asks, do you think Cyborg still has a chance of being in Injustice 2 now that Blue Beetle is in here? To be honest, I don't know. I think Cyborg has a good chance because he is going to be in the Justice League. So, you know, movie tie-ins, you really, really have a good chance, but who knows? It does look like Blue Beetle has at least a projectile and stuff, some of the same play style that he has. Of course, Blue Beetle's completely different. You know, he has a trait that lets him switch stances, and, you know, he has a lot more to his gameplay than, you know, I don't want to say than Cyborg had, but they're completely different. But I see where you're talking about with the comparison there, but I do think Cyborg still has a chance to make it. So last question here from Boogeyman, and he asks, do you think the main roster of Injustice 2 will have 14 heroes and 14 villains like in the first Injustice? Well, I had no idea that was actually the case in the first Injustice. I didn't know that there was 14 heroes and 14 villains at the start. It's kind of hard to say because I don't know if they would really limit themselves into having only 14 heroes and 14 villains. You know what I mean? Like, if they're at like 14 and then they think of another hero and then they say, oh, I really want him in the game, but then they limit themselves to 14 heroes, then and they can't do that, I don't think that would be the case. But if it was in the first Injustice, then there might be a chance that they might stick with that. But for me, like, if I was in charge there, which I'm not, obviously the game would fail if I was in charge of it, because I would just go crazy with everything that I want and not listen to anyone. But anyways, I would definitely not limit myself to 14 heroes and 14 villains at the start. I would just pick the characters that are the most fan favorite, that a lot of people really, really want to see, and characters that look cool in the game. I think that's what I would go for instead of making a 14 heroes and 14 villains. But who knows? They might go in that route again if they did that for the first Injustice game. Let me know what you guys think. Would you guys like to see 14 heroes and 14 villains, or would you guys like to just have NetherRealm use whatever characters they want and, you know, listen to the fans and stuff like that? I think that's the best way to go. But good question, man. That's gonna be the end of today's Q&A video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.